Key 20. Judgment. Shin, transliterated as sh, value 300, is pronounced shin. It means tooth, probably a serpent's fang, and suggests sharpness, acidity, active manifestation. The number of the letter, 300, is the value of the Hebrew words Ruach Elohim, which mean life breath of the divine ones, or Holy Spirit. Therefore, do Kabbalists call Shin the holy letter. We may understand this letter as being a symbol of the power which tears down the limitations of form, as teeth break up food. As the serpent's fang, it represents the power which kills the false personality and its sense of separateness. Observe that the corresponding tarot key is placed below that named death in the tableau given earlier. In the cube of space, Shin corresponds to the inner axis of the cube connecting the center of the northern face with the center of the southern face. Fire is the element attributed to Shin. It is the particular quality of the solar force and of the Mars vibration. It is also the quality of the zodiacal signs represented in tarot by the Emperor, Strength, and Temperance. Its color is scarlet. The musical tone is C, natural. Pluto and Vulcan, the latter a planet as yet unrecognized by exoteric astronomy, but considered in the calculations of some astrologers, are attributed to Shin. Perpetual intelligence is the mode of consciousness. Its name is derived from a Hebrew root meaning to stretch. This implies that the perpetual intelligence is an extension beyond the limits of the modes of consciousness common to most human beings. The name also implies everlastingness, eternity, and thus conscious immortality. The number 20 reduces to 2, thus we understand that the consciousness here represented is the culmination of mental activities originating in the cosmic memory, to the High Priestess. This picture is the last of the series, including keys 2, High Priestess, 5, Hierophant, 8, Strength, 11, Justice, 14, Temperance, and 17, the Star. Judgment, sometimes the Last Judgment, is the title of key 20. It implies completion, decision, termination. It is the final state of personal consciousness, because that which is represented by the tarot key following it is a state wherein personal consciousness is wholly obliterated in a higher realization. Dr. Waite's version of the 20th trump is less happy than any of his other departures from medieval symbolism. It shows 3 additional figures in the background, but these add nothing of importance to the real meaning of the design. Thus, the BOTA version, like all other versions of this trump, shows only one group. They are a man, a woman, and a child. Their bodies are tinted gray rather than flesh color, to intimate 1. That in this phase of personal consciousness the pairs of opposites have been neutralized, as complementary colors are neutralized in gray. 2. That the scene depicted is not located in the physical plane. The man is self-consciousness, the woman subconsciousness, and the child the regenerated personality. The positions of their arms refer to the symbolic gestures used in certain occult societies to represent the letters L, woman's extended arms, V, upraised arms of child, and X, crossed arms of man, which spell the Latin noun lux, meaning light. The angel is the divine breath, or cosmic fire, yet he is obviously the angel Gabriel, not only because he carries a trumpet, but also because Gabriel is the angel of the element of water, which is indicated by his blue robe. The action of heat upon water creates air, the substance of breath. Breath is specialized in sound, and the basis of sound is sevenfold. These 7 basic tones are indicated by 7 lines radiating from the bell of the trumpet, itself an instrument utilizing sound vibration. What these tones are and how to employ them is not material for discussion in this elementary treatise. Suffice to say that sound is the instrument of final liberation, and that the 7 tones are those which affect the 7 interior stars by sympathetic vibration. The banner of the cross should measure exactly 5 by 5 units, and does so in the BOTA version. Thus, the arms of the cross will include 9 out of the 25 square units on the face of the banner. 9 is the number of completion, and 5 is the number of adaptation. Complete adaptation is one, but only one, of the esoteric meanings of the banner. In the astral plane, or 4th dimension, represented by this key, all things are the reverse of physical conditions. Hence the man is now in a passive attitude, and the woman receives the influences of the angel in her outstretched hands. Note the correspondence of this stretching gesture to the basic meaning of the Hebrew word translated perpetual. The child, as we have said, is the regenerated personality, and it also stretches up both arms to their fullest extent. The coffins float upon a sea which is the final reservoir of those waters which begin in the robe of the high priestess. The coffins are rectangular, to represent the 3 dimensions of the physical plane. Standing at right angles, so to say, to these coffins, the 3 human figures indicate the mathematical definition of the 4th dimension, that which is at right angles to the other 3. Snowy mountains in the background represent the heights of abstract thought. This takes purely mathematical form. Thus the symbolism suggests that what is shown by key 20 is derived from mathematical considerations. The child's back is towards us, because he represents return to the source of all. This card shows the 6th stage of spiritual unfoldment, in which personal consciousness is on the verge of blending with the universal. At this stage, the adept realizes that his personal existence is nothing but the manifestation of the relationship between self-consciousness and subconsciousness. He sees, too, that self-consciousness and subconsciousness are not themselves personal, but are really modes of universal consciousness. Thus he knows that his personality has no separate existence. At this stage, his intellectual conviction is confirmed by 4th dimensional experiences, which finally blot out the delusion of separateness forever.